Yeah, so Sony did a thing. A few days ago we had the PlayStation Showcase Event, which was live streamed through the YouTubes and such, and it was basically what we all kind of expected. It showcased some more footage from some games that we pretty much already knew about, like Deathloop, Horizon Zero West, and Spider-Man Miles Morales. We also caught some glimpses of some games that we weren't aware of up until recently, like a Five Nights at Freddy's game, and a Harry Potter RPG that looked okay. I'll probably buy it, to be fair. Yeah, and they had some interviews with the developers and, you know, just stuff that we've really seen before from PlayStation. But I think, at least gathering from the live chat that I had a look at every now and then, the thing people were asking for the most was the price of this thing. Yes. We didn't know what the PlayStation 5 actually cost until very recently. What is the price of this thing that you expect us to trade in our PlayStation 4s for? Well, it was this, which is alright. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think the general consensus is that it's alright. Yeah, it's not too pricey. But then they kind of took away all their praise by surprising us with out-of-the-blue pre-orders. Yeah, if you haven't put your pre-order in for a PS5 yet, then you're probably not getting one. Yeah, they're out of stock already. Yay! Yay! Well done, Sony. That was clever. Now, of course, there's no point in worrying about the price of the PS5 unless there's some games actually worth picking up with it. So that got me wondering what games actually are going to be releasing day one. Not games that'll be releasing a week after, not 2 months after, day one. And it turns out we actually have a pretty decent lineup. For starters, we'll be having Astro's Playroom, a game that will actually be completely free and pre-installed on our PS5s, and it will be a successor to both the Playroom titles that we've had previously on the PS4 and PSVR, as well as Astrobot Rescue Mission, which admittedly was a PSVR title, therefore most people probably didn't actually try that game out, but it was a game that was actually really fun. And this is going to be a standard 2-dimensional TV game, so you guys that don't have a PSVR don't have to worry about not being able to play this one. And on the non-free side of PlayStation 5 games, we will be seeing the Demon Souls remaster that fans of Demon Souls are actually really excited for. If I end up picking it up, it'll be the first time I've played it, because I've never played one. I played a bit of that, was it Bloodborne? I got really confused and never went back to it, but it looked alright, so yeah, it looked alright. We'll have Destruction All-Stars. Yeah, I don't know, yeah, it does look like a game that most of us will forget about after like a few months of the PS5 being out, but it looks alright. Godfall, a looter slasher? Whatever that is. It has 3-player co-op, so that's always a good thing. Ooh, Just Dance 2021. Oh yes. I've never played Just Dance, but it looks alright. And of course we have the games that everybody's excited for, like Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, a spin-off title to the original Marvel Spider-Man that came out in 2018 that pretty much everybody adored, including myself. It is a shorter game, but it's on the PS5, so yeah. Don't you just like my commentaries on this? We have Sackboy, A Big Adventure. Actually the first Little Big Planet game that we've had since the very first one that came out on the PS4. So technically the first one in like 7 years, is it? They're always fun. Yeah. Is that it? Okay, I think that's it. It's quite a decent selection, to be fair. If I was going to be picking up a PS5 day one, I mean, I'm not, but if I was, I'd probably go with the Spider-Man Miles Morales game, purely because I really enjoyed playing the first one, and maybe the Sackboy game, mainly because I like to have a co-op game to play with, you know, like Kathleen or someone else. And if I was able to pick up another game, I'd probably look at Demon Souls just to, you know, finally try that game out. I don't think we have necessarily any bad titles. I guess you could say Just Dance 2021 and maybe Godfall. They're probably going to be the two games that people will avoid the most, and we'll probably just see them being the cheapest PS5 games in kind of like those bargain bins that you see at like Game and everything. But they could be good, so who knows? Who knows? But of course, most of us won't be picking it up day one, presumably. I mean, I'm not. I didn't get my hands on the pre-order. But that does mean that we will have access to a wider variety of games to choose from when we finally get a go at it. So we will be able to pick up the likes of Bugsnax. Yeah, Cyberpunk 2077. Presumably, unless it gets delayed again. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that actually looks really good. I'm not a fan of the Assassin's Creed series personally, but that looks like one of the ones that I would like to try out. And then of course there's that new Horizon Forbidden West? Yeah, that's also fun. Horizon Zero Dawn has a lot of really fun game mechanics that I'll probably be attracted to play on a PS5, so yeah. And then on top of this, if you're subscribed to PS Plus, you get access to the... Did I just spit everywhere? If you're subscribed to PS Plus, you'll have access to the PS Plus collection that comes with a whole host of PlayStation 4 titles for free. Well, if you count PS Plus games free, you know, but there's quite a lot, and even though they are PS4 games just being brought over to the PS5, there are enough that even for the likes of me, we might not necessarily have played them all already, and it is a nice thing to have some games to actually play on the PS5 for a reasonable price as well. You could probably just pay for a month of PS Plus, and yeah, you will lose them after that month, but you know, that's a whole month to play the likes of Resident Evil 7, Until Dawn, one of these other games. I think that's really good, because for like my brother, who will be buying a PS5 apparently, he hasn't had a PlayStation in like 3 or 4 years. To have his hands on those games will be very handy, because he probably won't be able to afford one of the PS5 titles up front, so he'll at least have some use for his PS5. And that does bring me on to the fact that the PS5 is supposedly 99% backwards compatible with PS4 titles. I really hope that means the 99% includes the physical discs of PS4 games, because I have pretty much half my collection on disc. And yeah, for people like my brother, if you haven't had a PS4, that means that even today you could go to the shop, pick up some PS4 games pretty cheap, and start getting games ready for your PS5. I mean, it is a shame that we can't play PS3, PS2 or PS1 games on the PS5, because it would be nice to have them upscaled to something like 4K resolution, which is something you can do on PCs already, so it's a bit of a shame that the PS5 won't be allowing that, but I understand it's something to do with, you know, the hardware not being compatible or something, but a PS1 disc? Come on, why can't you play the PS1 games on it? Please, come on, Sony. So if you couldn't tell already, I will be picking up a PS5 over an Xbox Series S or X. Is that what they're called? Series X? But not for reasons that you probably would assume if you're new to this channel. I'm not a fanboy. I've had an Xbox 360 and an Xbox One S, and I have nothing against Xbox. I like both. It's just that for me, I've pretty much dug my grave with PlayStation, because, well, you know, that's where all my games actually are. If I was wanting to play them backwards compatibly. That word, backwards compatible. And honestly, I just like the idea of being able to continue my PlayStation trophy hunting with the PS5. Yeah, it sounds a bit sad, but that actually does mean something to me. It would just really irritate me if I started getting loads of achievements in games on the Xbox that didn't show up in my trophy list. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's just one of those things for me that does annoy me when I play a game on anything but a PlayStation. You could probably say that I am whipped into PlayStation, and you'd probably be right. to be fair, you'd probably be right, yeah. Although, to be fair, again, I don't really care about the whole specs stuff, you know. Apparently the PS5 is going to be really underpowered compared to the Xbox Series X, which I could understand. I mean, the Xbox Series X is huge and apparently resembles more of a PC in terms of build quality, but you know, the PlayStation still does 4K, supposedly, so I don't really care, to be honest. Apparently it also has ray tracing, which looks really exciting. That's something that I haven't actually tried out myself, that I look forward to trying, because it looks fun to make everything look pretty and real to an extent. Although I am very happy to hear that the SSD in the PS5 is really, really, really good. Yeah, it's apparently really fast. Even faster than a lot of consumer-grade PC SSDs. Don't quote me on that though, I'm just echoing what I've heard around the internet. To practically be able to skip by most, if not all, load times will actually add a lot of precious little game time back into our little tiny lives that otherwise went to sitting there just waiting for a game to load. I'm looking at you, GTA 5. Although I've actually heard that most of that is actually just trying to connect to other players in GTA 5 online, so maybe that won't help. To be fair, so long as I can actually play the PS5 without having to hide it round the corner in my house, just so that I can actually hear what I'm actually playing, I'll be fine. In other news, as news reporters say, the whole $70 PS5 games is now apparently going to affect us in England as well. So yes, games will presumably be upwards of £70 this time round. Which doesn't necessarily make sense to me, because I don't think our games were ever £59.99. Unlike where in America, you would always hear Americans complain that games were like $60, whereas I'm pretty sure I've always been able to find games new at launch for around £42 to £45, and even then pushing it at £50, never £60 or anything like that. So I don't quite understand why we're getting the £20 added on top, whereas Americans are just presumably getting the $10 added on top. I know I'm saying Americans, I mean like wherever else that region accumulates for, like maybe Canada and such. I don't know geography, I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I've only ever paid like £50 for like a handful of games at most. I hope that is just kind of like the recommended retail price, £70, and I hope that games won't typically be restricted to that £70. Maybe if you're going digitally, which actually brings us on to the next segment. Why I'll no doubt be buying the PlayStation 2, physical PS5. Yeah, that's the title. Yeah, I'll definitely be picking up the standard physical edition PS5, regardless of it being a bit pricier, mainly because I just prefer physical media in general, but also because even though us physical owners will be paying more upfront for a PS5, I do think that we're going to be able to make our money back in the long run, because, like I said, I've always been able to find games a lot cheaper at retail than on the digital stores. I've always been able to find the physical copies rather cheap, because they go at different prices depending on the shop. Some will be selling them for around 42, like I said, or some will be selling them for the full retail price of like 50. So you can get a nice variety in prices there, whereas like if you go with the PlayStation Store equivalent of that, it's just the set price and you don't really have a choice. Okay, it does have it a bit cheaper with the PS Plus subscription, but even though we will be paying more upfront for the PS5 console than the digital owners, I do honestly think that we'll be getting the games cheaper in general, so I think we will make our money back depending on how many games we actually end up getting for the PS5, that is, I guess. I do actually think that the whole, the disc drive in the PS5 makes the console go up by $100 is a bit rubbish, because I don't really buy that a disc drive is going to add the total price up that much extra. Yeah, it is a UHD drive. That means that we'll be able to play 4K discs, including 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray discs that I'm really looking forward to, by the way. But I don't think that justifies the huge price increase. What I think it is that Sony's using us disc buyers as a way of making their money back on the loss of selling the digital edition so much cheaper in the first place. I don't think the digital edition would be that much if it was the only PS5 you could buy, for example. I think it would be more like 450. So yeah, you digital owners can thank us later that we paid more than you. So yeah, that is the end of the topics I'm going to be talking about. Honestly, there's not really a lot else to look forward to hearing about from Sony, although there is one thing that they still haven't touched on, and that is what the UI of the PS5 is going to look like. The user interface, I mean. I want to know what that looks like. I mean, they kind of hinted at it in the PS5 reveal, so why can't we see the whole thing? Sony, please Sony, show us it. Please.